That was crazy. Do you agree that was crazy? I was on the heckin' moon last week. What gives? How did that happen? I don't know. I need to get rid of that rubber band or I'll be playing with it the entire time. But today on the I Am Back on Earth, for now, says podcast, I'll be discussing it being okay not to upgrade, sharing some brief thoughts on the Logitech Blue Yeti GX microphone. I will be sharing a demo and kind of review of the iPhone 15 Pro microphone and other stuff too, so go ahead and stick around. There really wasn't any news over the last week that I feel like discussing, so I'm just going to go on a bit of a rant, and I even titled this rant. The title that I gave it is, It's Okay Not to Upgrade. Take a deep breath, take a step back, it's gonna be fine. It's just a phone, you will survive, you'll make it through this, I promise. The reason why I want to go on this rant is there was recently an Apple event, and at this event, they announced the iPhone 15, iPhone 15 Pro, all those iterations, the Apple Watch Ultra 2, the AirPods Pro 2 with USB, a bunch of stuff. And I saw a general consensus from the online tech influencer community, the tech content creator community, and the consensus was, that's a bit boring. That's a bit boring. And it was mixed with, maybe anger isn't the right word, annoyance. Boring mixed with annoyance that the upgrades from the 14 to 15 were not greater. That the upgrades from the Apple Watch Ultra to the Ultra 2 were not greater. And on one hand, I get that, because as a content creator, what do you want? Something that allows you to make content. And when the upgrades are minimal and boring and quality of life upgrades, there's not much to discuss. There's nothing hyperbolic to make a video about. Hey, there's a new color. Hey, they changed the material. Hey, the camera's slightly better and it's a little bit more reliable with a better battery. That's boring. So you want something that is groundbreaking, revolutionary technology, because with that, you can have an engaging title. You can also make tutorials. You can make videos about all the issues this new technology has. But with those boring upgrades, you don't get that. So I understand from the tech influencer side of things, that's why you're annoyed that the upgrades weren't greater. But from the consumer side of things, who cares? Who cares if it is a boring upgrade? If the upgrades from 14 to 15 and Ultra to Ultra 2 were not revolutionary, the average consumer most likely is not upgrading every single year. For myself, I have been using the iPhone X from 2017 to 2023, and I did just finally upgrade, and I got the iPhone 15 Pro. For me, the upgrade is incredible. Much better cameras, much better speeds, much better everything from the 10 to the 15 Pro. So if you're following every single year, yes, it may be a boring iterative update. But for the average consumer who is going from the 10, the 10S, the 11, 12 to the 15, 15 Pro, they're gonna love it. But I wanted to take a moment and to remind you of something. You do not need to upgrade every single year. You do not need the latest and greatest phone. You do not need the latest and greatest computer. I know there are outliers. If you're working in some visual graphics warehouse where you need the latest and greatest because your time is hundreds of dollars an hour, and the latest and greatest computer or phone is going to shave off 30 minutes every day, then yes, you do need the latest and greatest. I am talking about the average consumer. And the average consumer does not need to upgrade every year. Not even every 2 years or 3 years or 4 years even. The iPhone X was still functioning perfectly fine for me. I just had a few issues. Number one, the battery life was absolute trash. The battery section of this said replace the battery, and I tried to get it replaced. Apple wouldn't do it because I guess they don't make it anymore. Also, a few apps that I use were no longer supported on the iPhone X. And the final nail in the coffin is the iPhone X did not get iOS 17. So I would no longer be getting operating system updates. Now, I got 6 years out of this, so I got a lot of use out of it. And the way that I approached it is the day that I bought the iPhone X, I started saving again. Every month, I put some money away into a separate account so that when the iPhone X died, when it came time to retire it and upgrade, I had some money set aside to buy the next phone. That made it a lot less painful because I had money for this specific use case. I didn't have to finance it. I didn't have to stress about it. And that's the benefit of getting a phone and using it for as long as possible. Getting a computer and using it as long as possible. I used my iMac from 2017 to 2023 as well. And I did the same thing. As soon as I bought the iMac, I started saving so that I had some money set aside, a little nest egg, that's not the right term, a little bucket of money, so that I could upgrade when I needed to. And that's something that I think a lot of people can adopt. That is a practice that is extremely beneficial. It goes back to this depression saying that I have been really focusing on lately. I have it written on the whiteboard right above my work laptop, right above my work desk. It is use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. You understand why that's a depression-era saying. And a lot of us have bad financial habits. We have bad spending habits where we feel that we are owed the latest and greatest, that we deserve the latest and greatest, that our lives will be markedly improved with the latest and greatest. And in many cases, that isn't the case. The latest and greatest will not have a market improvement upon our lives. The only reason I went for the 15 Pro is I wanted the highest quality components so that I can hopefully get another 6 or 7 years of use out of it. And when you amortize the cost of this, which I hate how expensive it is, it becomes more affordable. Not affordable, but more affordable because it's still an expensive proposition to say, yeah, you're going to go ahead and pay $200 a year to use this phone. So it's still not cheap. But that's how I approach it, and I think that's a mentality that a lot of us need to start adopting. Use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. Buy something and use it until it is gone, until it is run into the ground, and then instead of replacing it, try to repair it. I replaced the battery in my iPhone X 3 years into it. And then I got an additional 3 years of use out of it. With my iMac, I was ready to upgrade in 2020 because it was running so slow. How did I get 3 more years of use out of it? I reformatted the computer and reinstalled just what I needed. That's something that we can all adopt. And I think we would be better off for it financially and morally, ethically, and it benefits us in a lot of different ways. So I just wanted to share that with you. Now, I'm going to admit something because I am an online tech influencer, a tech influencer. I just called myself an influencer. But a lot of times we forget who our audience is, or we forget who the general consumer is, the average consumer is. The average consumer does not buy a new iPhone every single year. They are upgrading every 2, 3, 4, 6 years. So the upgrades from the 10 to the 15 Pro are massive. It isn't a boring upgrade. It is a great upgrade from what they are using. Somebody who is researching a $25 microphone is not listening as critically as somebody who would be buying a $3,600 microphone. So Bandrew, you need to cool it and calm down and quit being so hyper duper extra super extra critical, because that person who is looking at the XM8500 is not looking for U87 quality. So cool your tits, man. Cool down. Stop it. Stop being so negative. And I had to take a step back and realize this. I shouldn't be reviewing a $50 microphone the same as I'm reviewing a $3,000 microphone. I should put it through the same tests. I should definitely still point out the cons, but I need to remind myself, I need to remember and understand the person buying a $50 microphone, a $20 microphone, a $100 microphone is very different. They have very different expectations than somebody who is buying a $3,000 microphone. The person who is upgrading from the 14 to 14 Pro to the 14S, 15 Pro every single year, that's not the average consumer, and their expectations are vastly different than the average consumer who upgrades from the 10 to the 15, from the iMac 2017 to the Mac Studio. Very, very different. And I just wanted to take this moment to remind you as a consumer, just like myself, it's okay. You don't need to upgrade every year. Use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. And to all of my fellow tech content creators, sling in that tent. Remember the average consumer. That's who we are serving. You may want something groundbreaking, revolutionary, exciting because you're reviewing stuff that is very similar every single year. But keep in mind who you're actually making the videos for. You're not making the videos to benefit yourself. You're making your videos to benefit somebody researching that item. John Prosser from Front Page Tech always talks about this, or he used to, I don't know if he still does, but he used to talk about the average consumer is going to love this phone. All of the perpetually online tech people are very hypercritical, and I love that. I love that. The audio people, I love how critical we can be, how we dive into the minutia. But the average consumer doesn't give a heck. They could not care less about the difference between the Blue Yeti and the U87. They may not even hear a difference, so of course they're not going to care. That's the end of the rant. I just wanted to share that and get that off of my chest because I saw some very weird takes, some entitlement almost, and it was strange to behold. How dare you make us buy a new watch every single year just to get a new watch face? How is that environmentally friendly? What? How is Tim Apple holding a sword to your throat? Is that how they're making you? No, you're not required to. You don't need to. If the only upgrade from one to the other is a watch face, don't spend your money on it. Don't do it. Okay, that is it. Now let's talk about what I've been testing. I am on the Shure SM7B, running into the Universal Audio LA610, Mark II, running into the UAX8. I was going to use a different microphone, and we'll talk about it. But I couldn't bring myself to do it because I used the microphone in my voice chat last night, and I thought I was going to have a riot on my hands. I thought I was going to get banned from my own server because it was so bad. The microphone I am talking about is the Logitech Blue Yeti GX RGB Supercardioid Dynamic Microphone. This costs $150. I bought it with my own dollary dues. There's your disclosure. This is a USB-C microphone, 24-bit up to 96 kilohertz, I think. There's a big feature lacking on this thing. There's no headphone port. So you get no monitoring on this. The sound of this thing, I find to be pretty offensive. It is pretty heckin' bad. Now you may be thinking, Bandrew, you were just talking about the average consumer not caring about that. Why are you being so critical of this? Because there are other options at the same price or less that sound better. The Elgato Wave 3, the Samson Q2U. I think even the Audio-Technica AT2040 USB sounds better than this. And I was not favorable to the 2040 USB. For $50 more, Rode PodMic USB for $100 more, Shure MV7. Or if you want to go super budget, Behringer UM2 or M Audio M-Track Solo interface for $50, $30 to $50, Behringer XM 8500, $20. All the accessories, you're sitting around $100, and you will sound significantly better than this. The one difference from that setup and the Samson Q2U and the Yeti GX, this has processing. So you get Blue voice software. And you can EQ it. You can compress it. You can do denoising. You can do gates, de-essers, deplosives. None of it saves it. I tried everything to try to get it to sound good. And I verified in another video, okay, this isn't broken. It just sounds this bad. So it's very rare that a microphone will sound so bad that I won't use it for at least one episode of the show. But I was getting yelled at in my voice chat because it sounded so bad. So I wasn't going to subject you to that for an entire episode. My review will be coming out very, very shortly, and it'll be a fun one. Really, this is what is left of Blue. What have you done? You've massacred my boy. Look how they've massacred my boy. That's what I've been testing. But let us jump to what you had to say. First comment comes from Keith. He says, feels like a podcast version of a Ponzi scheme. Knit, substitute high level for top level. Love the trip to outer space. Loads of fun. Bandrew. Keith, thank you very much for the correction. Last week when I was on the moon, you're going to have to forgive me. It was low oxygen content in the atmosphere, so I was a little bit loopy. I mislabeled the scheme. I said pyramid scheme and pointed to a pyramid, which was on the moon, when in reality it was a Ponzi scheme, which I should know because I studied Bernie Madoff. Ponzi scheme. The way those work, you have initial investors, and in order to pay the return to those initial investors, you go out and get new investors, get their money. Now you have that bucket of money. You pay the returns to those initial investors. Then to pay the returns for those newer investors, you have to go out, get more investors. And that's the way a Ponzi scheme works. And that's how that podcast, the Cast Media podcast scheme, allegedly scheme, worked. Or it seems to have worked because who knows, it's alleged. And yeah, Ponzi scheme. Thank you very much for the correction. I very much appreciate it. Next, we have a comment from 45 Kevin R. Interestingly, there's recently been a bunch of missing money events in the mechanical keyboard hobby. Either group buy organizers have been incompetent, or they've been living off the money that was supposed to buy the products. Made worse by huge delays and manufacturing prices going up. So at best, they've insufficient money, and in other cases, they seem to have spent it. Porsche cars have been mentioned in one case. Kevin, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you for the information about this issue making its way into mechanical keyboards. I had not heard of that. Luckily, I never dove too deep into the mechanical keyboard realm of things. I just got comments saying, you need a mechanical keyboard. You can't use an Apple keyboard to test clickety-clacks. Get a keyboard with cherry blues. So I researched. I bought a wired DOS keyboard. Then I wanted wireless, so I got a Keychron. And I am sure there are keyboard aficionados, keyboard enthusiasts, keyboard experts who are cringing at that, saying, a Keychron? Gross! I'm fine with that. Works for me. I don't even charge it anymore. I just use it to clickety-clack. And ready to vomit in your mouth? I use an Apple keyboard with very minimal travel to the keys, and it works fine for me. Works fine for me. I did have people saying, hey, you're reviewing microphones, you should be reviewing mechanical keyboards. Back in my comments in 2017, 2018, and I thought about it for a second, and then I decided, nah, I'm not going to do that. I find this incredibly sad that this seems to be increasing in occurrence. Maybe it's not increasing, and maybe we're just becoming more aware of it, and maybe it shouldn't be sad, maybe it should be expected. Because I imagine this has been going on forever. There have always been con men and con women who steal people's money or misallocate funding they receive to live lavish lifestyles. So I shouldn't be surprised. None of us should be surprised. People steal money and they want to buy stuff that makes them happy. Maybe that's the real reason for this. Last week I was saying, the reason for this is because people want to post about it on social media and look cool, look like they live these amazing lives, look like they're incredibly successful, look like they have this unbelievable lifestyle. But in reality, maybe they're just stealing money to buy stuff that makes them happy. Vacations, cars, watches, expensive meals. It's undeniable that people enjoy that stuff a lot of times. So why wouldn't they just steal money to do that? That's always happened. But as far as the social media proposition that I had last week, I think that is also kind of true because it may purvey this idea of this individual is incredibly successful. So if they work in the finance side of things, the money side of things, people will say, okay, they're extremely successful. I should take their advice. Or they're extremely successful. I should give them my watches to sell. Or they're incredibly successful. I should give them my money to invest. I understand enjoying nice things. I understand it. Going out to a nice meal, going on a vacation, buying a nice watch, driving a car that's reliable, that is all very enjoyable. But at the same time, I don't understand how you could enjoy that when the money you are using to fund that enjoyable activity or that enjoyable purchase is stolen. Maybe they're sociopaths, but I know I would be so riddled with anxiety that I wouldn't be able to enjoy a second of it because the entire time I was on that vacation, eating that meal, wearing that watch that I bought with stolen money, I would just be anxious and stressed out thinking, oh my gosh, this is all going to unravel. Maybe there are some instances where somebody gets away with it, but you never hear about that. You just hear about it unraveling and somebody going to prison for a very long time. Or getting ostracized from everybody they know and everybody they love. So how can you enjoy that? Knowing that the house of cards is going to fall and your life is going to be destroyed. I don't understand that mentality, that separation, that compartmentalization of, this is really fun having all this money, spending it, and then, this isn't my money. This is gonna ruin everything. I'm gonna get found out. How do you enjoy that? And maybe I need to become a sociopath. I don't know. But based on my personality, I know that I get a very deep satisfaction knowing that I worked extremely hard, saved up for a long time to accomplish something, whether it be saving up to buy a new phone. I was able to pay for it with cash, and I enjoyed that. There was a satisfaction knowing I don't owe anybody any money because I forwent a lot of luxuries at the time and just threw a couple of bucks into a savings account. Going and buying a new watch that you save up for, that you work your butt off to save money for. Going out to a nice meal that you worked hard to earn money for. Going on a vacation that you deserve because you worked your tail off for years and years and didn't take any vacation time. There's so much more enjoyment in that than I would expect you would be able to achieve of, I just stole this money, now I'm going to go spend it. That doesn't seem enjoyable. There's no sense of accomplishment. The hell? I guess this is why I'm not a criminal, why I don't steal people's money. I guess that's why. Okay. Thank you very much for the information, and I am sad to see it occurring in mechanical keyboards as well. I hope it gets resolved, and I hope everybody gets the keyboards that they paid for. Next, we have a comment from OldPossum53. The only problem I have with ads on YouTube, and it's a massive one, is that there is zero attempt to synchronize the advertising to the content. They will interrupt the program in mid-thought, mid-sentence, even mid-word, and I find that annoying and lots of other unprintable words. That's why advertising on traditional media is more palatable. It's an interruption, yes, but not a disruption. Old Possum, thank you very much for the comment. I love that last sentence, and I think you are exactly right. It's an interruption, but not a disruption. For YouTubers who are a part of the partner program, there is nobody to blame but the actual YouTuber, because we as YouTubers who monetize our content have the ability to engage mid-roll ads, and we also have the ability to select where those mid-roll ads are placed. I believe there is the ability to say auto-place mid-rolls. But if you care about your audience's viewing experience, you ought to be selecting exactly where those ads are best suited, where there is a break in thought, where there is an ad break. The person who did this best, I already referenced him once in this episode, is John Prosser from Front Page Tech. The way he would do it is he would introduce an ad break and then put the mid-roll right there. The way he would do it, hey, we're going to go ahead and pay some bills, and here is a mid-roll ad right here.
American Microphone Police. Open up.
Wow, that was great. If you didn't see one, better luck. Good for you. You didn't see an ad, but if you did, thanks for watching it. That's how he would do it. He would introduce it as though it was a paid ad because he was receiving payment, and it led the audience into expecting that ad. It wasn't a disruption. It was an interruption, as you so eloquently put it. Thank you very much, Old Possum. You are exactly right, and YouTubers who choose to use mid-roll ads ought to be better at placing them. If you aren't a part of the partner program and YouTube just places ads on all of your videos wherever the heck they want and however much they want, you are forgiven. You are dismissed, as Curtis Judd would say. Thank you very much. Next, we have a comment from MEI Studio NY Pax. He says, "This is one of the zaniest intros ever. I've been working on an audio podcast with a Grammy-winning engineer friend of mine. I was looking into Acast, but do you have any suggestions for a good company to go with for distribution? Acast just looked the easiest to go with. Another great video. Thanks again." Thank you very much, Pax, for the comment and the kind words. As far as picking a podcast host, I am the wrong person to ask because I have not looked into this in the better part of a decade. Since 2014, 2015, and around then I chose Libsyn because it was a popular option. It's functioned well for me ever since then. I don't think there has ever been down. Maybe there was one time where it went down and you couldn't upload your episodes, but that was once over 7 years, 8 years. It may not be the cheapest, it may not be the most feature-packed, but it has worked well for me. I did also used to host my members-only podcast on there, but I canceled that account, and now I host my members-only podcast, as well as the Podcastage Audio RSS feed, which I just launched about a month ago. That is all hosted on my web host because I had the ability to turn an existing blog into an RSS feed. So if there is an audio file embedded, that will now get distributed via RSS. I would recommend checking out Better Podcasting. I asked SP this morning if he had a more up-to-date episode, but Better Podcasting 150, that's where they discuss the podcast hosts that were available in 2018. So start there. But if I hear back from SP or SP Stargate Pioneer, co-host of Better Podcasting, if you're listening to this, leave a comment if you have any recommendations, if you feel obliged to. If you don't, ignore this. No big deal. I shouldn't expect you to be at my women call. But Better Podcasting 150. I almost called it BSP 150. Better Podcasting 150. But I use Libsyn. I have never had an issue. Costs $20 a month for, I don't know how much time I get. I've never exceeded my limit. I upload once a week, an hour each, and I'm well within my time limit. No bandwidth limits either, but I think if you get massively famous, massively popular, I think they may negotiate a contract with you because I bet that gets kind of expensive. Thank you very much, Pax. Oh, by the way, if you want to see an awesome video, go check out MEI Studio New York's latest video comparing the SM57 to the SM545. Is it SM545 or just the Shure 545? Fascinating video, really cool comparison. There are some frequency response measurements, and he mentioned something that I found very interesting. He said, I don't think we should be using words like smooth, warm, crispy, stuff like that. And I pushed back and said, well, if we don't use words like that, how are we supposed to define the character of a microphone to somebody who is not initiated into the audio side of things? And he proposed the option of just breaking it down into bass, middle, and treble. Very interesting conversation, very interesting video that he published. Go check it out. Thank you very much. Next, we have a comment from Mr. Coffee. He says, can we get an iPhone 15 Pro mic review? Thank you very much for the comment and the request, Mr. Coffee. Currently, I am recording this audio using the internal microphone on the iPhone 15 Pro. I am recording the audio directly in the voice memo app, and I will have to sync up the video from my camera to the audio from my phone in post. But this is what it sounds like if you are putting the microphone relatively close to your mouth. Now here is how the iPhone 15 Pro's microphone sounds about 1.5 feet away from my face hole in a decently treated studio room environment, which I believe you're familiar with if you watch my channel. Now here is how the iPhone 15 Pro's microphone sounds about 1.5 feet away from my mouth in a completely untreated room. Now here is how the iPhone 15 Pro's microphone sounds 1.5 feet away from my mouth in a shower. Now here is how the iPhone 15 Pro's microphone sounds about 1.5 feet away from my mouth in a 2 or 3 by 3 closet. Wow, past Bandrew, thank you so much for that. Mr. Coffee, what are my thoughts on the iPhone 15 Pro microphone? What a surprise! The microphone sounds a lot better when the microphone is closer to the sound source. When I had it a couple inches away from my mouth, I thought it sounded better. There was less room tone. I did find the microphone to be kind of crispy sounding, a little bit harsh in the upper frequencies, or I guess I should say the treble on this was, I can't not use a descriptive word. The treble on this was grainy. The treble on this was gritty and harsh and unpleasant. But as far as a phone microphone goes, I would say that's pretty impressive. And I do want to point out also, it didn't do the best job at background noise rejection, picked up quite a bit of reverb in the untreated space, picked up a lot of reverb in the shower. I recorded in a shower again. I did it again. Whoops. There you go. There's just a quick demo, not a full review. Let me know if it would be fun for me to do a full review where I put this in my isolation cabinet and record some. Oh, how would I do that? Because that would be very difficult to have any kind of overlays. And I record 3 guitar tracks, 2 acoustics, and a singing voice. I don't know how I would do that. I can try to sort that out, but that would be very difficult to accomplish. I would need to just play to a click while this is in there and I have no monitoring. That would be so hard to do. Let me know. Thank you very much. Next, we have a comment from the Million View Club 711. 71111. You look like Adam Sandler's younger brother. The Million View Club 1177111. Thank you very much for the comment. I used to get this a lot. The comparisons I used to get was Jason Biggs. Yeah. I used to get Pauly Shore when I had a lot longer hair and it was super curly. But the most common one was Adam Sandler. You look like Adam Sandler. There's a very specific reason for that. Adam Sandler is my big brother. Adam Sandler is my big brother, and I don't know why he shafted me. That came... Cut that. Leave that on the cutting room floor. Let me rephrase. I don't know why Adam Sandler, my big brother, my legal big brother, has given me the cold shoulder. All I want to do is play basketball with my big bro and play some silly songs on the acoustic and make a movie with him on vacation. Come on, big brother Adam Sandler. What give? But no. Just gonna ignore my calls? That would be weird if I had, let me check. Do I have Adam Sandler's number in here somehow? No, I don't. Okay. So I have not been calling Adam Sandler. Good to know. But I used to get that a lot. Okay, that is it for what you had to say. Let us jump to the super thanks. The supporters of this podcast. Numero uno comes from Rainer Richter. €10 says, Danke, my humble contribution to your personal podcast royalty. Rainer, as always, thank you so much for the support. Not the proprietor, the benefactor. I'm going to get this right one of these weeks. The benefactor of this show, the consistent benefactor. Thank you so much for supporting the show, paying the podcast hosting bills. You are an absolute legend. We also have 20 USD from YouTube Kai. He says, or she says, thanks so much for your podcasts. I am a VO guy, and your mic and gear comparisons are so helpful and help me to not spend on what I really don't need, and totally fun to watch. Proud to be an Earthling. A YouTube Kai, thank you so much for the support, but more importantly, thank you so much for those kind words. That portion right there, it helps me to not spend on what I really don't need. That's my job done. That's my job. I am a happy camper because that's what I set out to do. Here is the information for you to make an informed decision, and you can buy what you need without wasting your money. Thank you so much, Kai. That means the world to me, and thank you for the support. That is it for this show. I know I keep saying we will be getting back to Ask Bandrew. I will. Once these reviews slow down, I have so much heckin' work to do. I'm months behind on the members-only podcast. If you're a member of Podcastage, I apologize. Please, for the love of God, forgive me. I have failed you so much. I will get back to you. It just takes so much heckin' time. So much heckin' time. Spent all day Friday, all day Saturday working on these things, and I never get caught up. Constant. I'm not trying to throw a pity party. I apologize. That's it. No excuses. I am sorry. I will be better. Okay, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for coming by and hanging out with me and spending your precious time with me. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will talk at you, with you, about you, surrounding you, loving you, patting you on the head, and I will talk to you then. Bye-bye. Whoa. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing a hoodie. It's starting to be sweater weather. By the time I finish recording, because the AC is off now I'm regretting this decision, but it was sweater weather for a minute. Okay, bye-bye. Whoa. Boop.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.